Hi, this is Alan with frontendaudio.com, and we have the SPL Phonitor here. And basically what the Phonitor is it's an extremely high quality headphone amplifier and psychoacoustical processor. Now what that means is that the Phonitor has additional circuitry that really allows you to hear in a fashion that's similar to as if you were listening on a pair of studio monitors in front of you. They're accomplishing this with analog circuitry purely, no digital circuitry of any kind or trickery or what have you. So it's pretty difficult to pull that off, and which hence translates into a good bit of the cost, because it's really something that is pulled off in a very, very, very accurate fashion. On the front, we basically have the most important feature, which is going to be the volume knob, which relates directly over to a -20 dim switch, which also relates up to the metering. These are things that you're going to really have to kind of take into account when listening to pre-mastered material, something that's a commercially available CD, when just basically figuring out the Phonitor or using as a reference. You'll probably have to engage the -20 dB dim switch, just basically knock that level down and make it something that where you have just a more usable gain stage. And the metering as well, something you're going to have to basically kind of figure out. You also do have the ability to switch in meter mode from a VU average to a peak-to-peak meter. So very valuable metering on the front panel as well. Getting into just some of the basic functions that you might need, and typically in a monitoring situation, you have the ability to solo left and right signals independently of one another. Right in the middle is both signals together. And then you also have phase selection. So you can basically reverse the polarity on both the left or the right signals and see how that is affecting things. And so it helps you to isolate in whenever you're soloing on multiple microphones on a guitar amp or whatever, just basically to help check in panning, basically to really kind of help determine any particular issues that you might be facing in your mix or in your tracking. From there, down below this, you also have a mono switch, which allows you to switch into mono for monitoring and also to help check your phase issues. Directly below this section is going to be your crossfeed. Now basically you're going to need to turn this switch on, and that turns on the crossfeed section and speaker angle. And so basically what this does is it allows you to go to your minimum setting, which just starts to introduce left to right, right to left, and so forth. And then that will increase in volume as you increase that level there. This is going to be your speaker angle. The manual very clearly defines a mathematical formula in terms of determining what your setting really should be in terms of determining what your actual angle is based upon distance and so forth. I'm going to refer you to that. It's probably something I shouldn't get into here in terms of teaching a math class. On the other side of the volume knob, basically there you have the center level. Again, you'll need to switch this on, and you will need to basically adjust. It's really kind of more of a knocking down of the center level. As far as headphones to use with the Phonitor, basically SPL recommends that you use an open back headphone, as that is something that is typically more spatial in its representation of the audio material, and so the effects of the psychoacoustical processing are typically more apparent. I didn't necessarily find it to be true, though I think that it does depend on which headphones you're using. And the ones I listened to tended to be a little less dynamic overall, and I'm referring to the open back. I enjoyed it with my closed back headphones. I found that I was able to hear the differences in what was happening in the bass section with the processing and switching that out a little bit more clearly than I could with the open back headphones I was using. Though you're really going to have to kind of try out some different ones and find the headphones that really work best for you and what you're most comfortable with. But if you already have a favorite pair of headphones, honestly, I think that this is going to be something that is really going to be a pretty fantastic headphone amplifier. I find a lot of audiophile listeners are inquiring about this box, mainly just to where they can listen in a nice, comfortable environment without bothering their families. And that's really one of the best applications for this, is that you have a high-quality monitoring system available to you that's not going to cloud your judgment if you're mixing as much as, say, just listening to straight headphones, just a straight mix coming through a regular headphone amplifier, high quality or not. This is basically going to help you in terms of determining your panning and give you all the monitoring tools that you would need as well. Let's cover the back panel real quick. On the back panel, you're going to have XLR electrically balanced inputs and outputs. These are basically throughputs, and as far as putting the Phonitor directly into your monitoring chain, you're going to want to put this before your volume control for your studio monitors. So you can turn those down and hence use the Phonitor independently of those. Otherwise, you're going to have to be unplugging your monitors, and you're going to be changing the gain staging going to this. You really just want to have like a straight line output of your DAW, the monitoring outputs 1 and 2 from the converters, or you can create a separate feed for this that's independent of your direct monitoring chain and feed this off of whichever outputs you desire in your DAW. Basically, aside from that, it's real simple. The power supply section here, obviously the on and off switch, and then ground lift, and it's a worldwide supply. You just basically have the selectable voltage here. This will work in Japan, Australia, South America, Africa, wherever, just depending upon the voltage range. Most of the world is going to end up using the 230 volt setting, and of course North America, South America, and Japan would end up using the 115. In conclusion, the SPL Phonitor is a fantastic piece of gear, and it's something that will be readily apparent to you once you get it in your hands. As far as a headphone amplifier is concerned, there's really none better. There will be different. Obviously a tube circuit's going to sound different than the solid state circuit. This is just something that's very balanced, non-hypey, and very even top to bottom, without being peaky or hypey, as I said before. As far as the processing is concerned, really that's going to be something that, again, it's very subtle, but it does become something that's radical the more in-depth you listen to it. And I suggest that if you purchase one, definitely spend the time with it up front. Definitely get to know all the settings, what they're doing, monitor with them out, get to know the headphone amplifier, then start messing with the particular controls, and switch them in, switch them out, really clue in on what's happening. This piece of gear really changed the way that I listened. I found that I had to redefine that and listen a lot more objectively, and the Phonitor really started to expose a lot more of what it's doing to me whenever I put the time in and really listened objectively and in depth, and I recommend that to you. It's the perfect piece of gear for an engineer who's working at home who has a family, doesn't want to disrupt the family, or where the family noise and so forth might be interrupting their work. By the same token, audiophiles who really want to have a more natural listening experience, perfect piece of gear for them as well. Really, and also even in a professional studio where you might have lots of clients behind you, around the producer's desk, what have you, just jabbering away, this is another good way to be able to listen and clue in on what's happening out in the room if you need to. So really, it's something to take a look at. It's not for everybody, but it is for the people that it's perfect for. It's perfect. So for more information on the SPL Phonitor and for all your pro audio needs, check us out online at frontendaudio.com. Thanks.